I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
This is
if you do a jail search, the defendant's names come up, and there you see the defendant's name, Donald J. Trump. He has been booked and processed there in Fulton County, Georgia. And again, as the Fulton County Sheriff had said would be the case, apparently the former president has been treated as other defendants are treated there, the same process.
The president for decades said, we're going to do it. The difference is I kept my promise and officially recognized the capital of Israel and moved the American embassy to Jerusalem. These people do like Israel.
Hold on. And he loves Israel too.
It's true.
2 seconds. Just 2 seconds. 6 years ago, I was up here, and I said, "This is our first Jewish president."
It's true.
Now he's the first Jewish president to serve two not consecutive presidencies. We thank you for everything.
That's right. And these people do.
And he loves Israel too.
It's true.
Respective parties in order to form a party based on an anti-slavery platform. The Civil War broke out in 1861, following President Lincoln's inauguration. In the Civil War, 7 southern states formed the Confederate States of America and fought for the detachment from the United States. However, the Union won the war, and the Confederacy was formally dissolved. The issue of slavery was at the center of political disagreement during the Civil War, and this caused the Republicans to fight for the abolition of slavery and Lincoln signing the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863. At this point in history, the South was predominantly Democratic and held conservative, agrarian-oriented, anti-big business values, which were characteristic of the Democratic Party at the time. The majority of the North, on the other hand, were Republicans who fought for the civil and voting rights for African American people. After the war, the Republican Party became more and more oriented toward economic growth, industry, and big business in northern states, and in the beginning of the 20th century, it had reached a general status as a party for the more wealthy classes in society. Many Republicans therefore gained financial success in the prosperous 1920s until the stock market crashed in 1929, initiating the era of the Great Depression. Many blamed Republican President Herbert Hoover for the financial damages brought by the crisis. In 1932, the country therefore elected Democrat Franklin D. Roosevelt to be president. To get the country back on track, Roosevelt introduced his New Deal. The New Deal launched a number of progressive government-funded social programs, ensuring Social Security, improved infrastructure, and minimum wage. This meant that a large number of Southern Democrats, whose political views were more traditional and conservative, didn't support Roosevelt's liberal initiatives and joined the Republican Party instead. Roosevelt's progressive liberal policies play an important role in shifting the party's political agenda to look like the modern Democratic Party as we know it today. After Roosevelt died in 1945, the Democrats stayed in power with Harry S. Truman in the White House. He continued to take the Democratic Party in a progressive direction with a pro-civil rights platform and desegregation of military forces, thereby gaining support from a large number of African American voters who had previously supported the Republican Party because of its anti-slavery platform. The Democratic Party largely stayed in power until 1980, when Republican Ronald Reagan was elected as president. Reagan's social conservative politics and emphasis on cutting taxes, preserving family values, and increasing military funding were important steps in defining the modern Republican platform. Following Reagan's 2 terms in office, His vice president, George H.W. Bush, was elected as his successor in the White House. Since then, Republicans and Democrats have taken turns in the White House and controlling majorities in both the House of Representatives and the Senate.